Sigma males are those who possess the qualities of both an alpha and a beta. They are not content with simply following the lead of others, but they also don't want to be in charge all the time. This can make them seem difficult to read and even harder to get along with at times. While Sigmas may be misunderstood by many, there are some reasons why they often ignored you. 1. They're not impressed by you. Sigma males are not easily impressed by others, no matter who they are. They have high standards and don't give their approval lightly. This can make them seem unapproachable or even judgmental, but they simply don't put much stock in what other people think. While some people are easily impressed by wealth, power, or fake breasts, Sigma males could care less about such things. They would much rather be around someone genuine and authentic. Trying to impress a Sigma is like trying to get water from a stone. It's next to impossible. They don't care about material possessions or superficial things. This is why they can sometimes come across as being uninterested in others. However, they simply don't see the point in trying to impress someone they don't even know. Of course, there are times when Sigma men are impressed by someone or something, but this is usually because they have achieved something that they respect. For example, a Sigma might be impressed by someone who has overcome adversity or accomplished something great. They would much rather admire someone who can inspire them, rather than someone who is trying to impress them. Sigma males can read people very well, and they can see through any attempts of flattery or manipulation. Their nonsense detector is very strong, and they can spot a liar from a mile away. While some people might be easily taken in by sweet words or empty promises, Sigmas are not so easily fooled. They would rather deal with the hard truth than be lied to. 2. They are recharging. Sigma men need time to themselves to recharge, and they can often be found retreating to their cave. This need for alone time can make them seem distant or even cold, but it's simply how they operate. While some people are social butterflies and need to be constantly around others, Sigmas are the complete opposite. They get their energy from being alone and feel suffocated when they're around people for too long. This is why Sigmas can often be found in nature or in their own home. They need time to themselves to clear their head and recharge. They are not the type of people who will be happy at a crowded bar or club. They would much rather be in a quiet place where they can relax and think. While some people might see this need for alone time as a negative, it's actually a positive thing. This is the perfect time for them to reflect on their life and figure out what they want. This is when they're able to be their most creative and productive. While others are out partying, Sigmas are usually the ones making things happen. The word recharge may be a bit weird to other people, but to Sigma males, it's crucial. If they don't have time to themselves, they will quickly become overwhelmed and stressed out. When a Sigma is recharging, they are not just sitting around doing nothing. This is an active process for them, and it's essential for their well-being. 3. They don't like explaining themselves to those who don't get it. Sigmas don't like to justify their actions or decisions to anyone. They are confident in themselves and their abilities, so they don't need to seek approval from others. This can make them seem arrogant or even selfish at times, but they simply don't operate on the same wavelength as most people. While others may need constant reassurance, Sigmas are completely comfortable flying solo. They trust their own instincts and don't need anyone else's opinion to validate their choices. This self-sufficiency can be misunderstood by others, but Sigmas know that they don't have anything to prove. For this specific reason, they often ignore the judgment of others, especially if it's harmful. It often happens for Sigma males that some people do not understand them at all. They try to explain themselves, but it's like talking to a wall. Sometimes it is just better and easier to leave these people be. Not because Sigmas are selfish, but because it's a waste of time and energy. Even though Sigma men don't need the validation of others, they are not arrogant or rude. They can be very nice and understanding, but they will only do so if it feels right. If someone is constantly trying to put them down or is being negative, they will simply walk away. 4. They don't trust you. Sigmas are very guarded, and they don't trust easily. They have been burned in the past and are not about to let it happen again. This wariness can make them seem untrustworthy, but they simply don't take anything at face value. While some people might be quick to believe what others say, Sigmas are the complete opposite. They're not going to take your word for it. They need to see it for themselves. This skepticism can often make them seem like they're doubting or questioning everything. However, this is just their defense mechanism. They don't want to be taken advantage of or hurt again, so they're not going to let their guard down easily. If they smell even the slightest hint of BS, they're going to ignore you. Sigmas need time to get to know someone before they can fully trust them. They need to see that person in various situations, and they need to be sure they can be trusted. It takes a lot for a Sigma to trust someone, but once they do, they're in it for the long haul. They're not going to just up and leave at the first sign of trouble. Once Sigma trusts you, they will be loyal and reliable and expect the same in return. They will have your back through thick and thin. They might not show it on the outside, but they will definitely be there for you when you need them. 5. They are lost in thought. Sigma males are very introspective and often get lost in their own thoughts. This can make them seem aloof, but it's just how they operate. They're always thinking about something, and they're always trying to figure things out. While some people might see this as a weird thing, it's actually how they're able to solve problems and come up with new ideas. They're always thinking about what could be and how things could be better. Their mind is always racing, and they're always trying to make connections. If you try to talk to a Sigma while they're lost in thought, they might not even hear you. They're so wrapped up in their own thoughts that they tune out the rest of the world. This can be frustrating for others, but it's not personal. It's just how they function. The best thing to do if you're talking to a Sigma and they seem distant is to give them a minute to collect their thoughts. Of course, they don't do this on purpose, but it's just how their mind works. They love to process everything and always try to make sense of things. Sigma men are not the type of people who can just turn their brain off. They're always thinking, even when they don't want to be. 6. They're not interested in your drama. Sigmas hate anything that causes unnecessary stress or drama in their lives. They prefer to keep things simple and don't like dealing with conflict. This doesn't mean that Sigmas are afraid of confrontation, but they would rather resolve issues in a calm and logical manner. They don't see the point in getting worked up over something that can be easily fixed. This preference for peace and quiet often makes Sigmas seem uninterested or even dismissive of others. However, they simply don't want to waste their time on pointless arguments and drama. While some people might enjoy being in the middle of the action, Sigmas would rather stay on the sidelines. They would rather observe and analyze a situation before getting involved. This allows them to make more informed decisions, making them seem detached from the situation. They don't have to be a part of everything in order to understand it. This is why they often ignore the drama and chaos that surrounds them. It's simply not worth their time or energy. While alpha males need to be in the spotlight and crave attention, Sigmas prefer being in the background. They would rather stay out of the limelight and let others take center stage. This doesn't mean that Sigma males are shy. They just don't feel the need to be the center of attention all the time. They're perfectly happy flying under the radar and living a more low-key lifestyle. This can sometimes make them seem invisible, but this is exactly what they want. 7. Too many boring people. Sigma men often find themselves in social situations where they are surrounded by people who just don't interest them. Whether it's a work function or a party, they often find themselves being bored out of their mind. This is because Sigmas are very selective with their social interactions. They only want to be around people who they can have interesting conversations with. If they're not being stimulated mentally, they will quickly become bored. This is why Sigma males often prefer socializing in small groups or even one-on-one. They want to have a real conversation without having to worry about making small talk. Sigmas often feel like they don't fit in with the rest of the world. This is because they're always searching for something more. They want to find their place in the world and want to find people smarter than him. The problem is that most people are satisfied with mediocrity. They're not looking for anything more in life and are happy to just go through the motions. This is something that Sigma males will never understand. Doing the same thing over and over again is just not interesting to them. 8. You're too critical, despite your own flaws. We are often quick to point out the flaws in other people, but we are blind to our own. The world is full of this type of people, and we all know at least one. They are the people who are quick to point out your mistakes, but are never willing to admit their own. Sigma men can't stand this kind of person and will quickly ignore them. These people are just looking to start arguments and are not interested in having constructive conversations. We must first look in the mirror and then criticize others. It's easy to criticize the person in front of you, but it takes much more strength to look at yourself objectively and recognize your own flaws. Once you're able to do this, you'll see that we all have flaws and that nobody is perfect. We're all just human beings trying to do the best we can. 9. You exaggerate too much. Sigmas don't understand why people feel the need to exaggerate things or tell lies. They are always searching for the truth. They want to know how things really are, and they're not satisfied with half-truths or white lies. This is why they often have a hard time relating to other people. They don't understand why people don't use logic and reason when they're talking. It just doesn't make sense to them. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone who is speaking a different language. Everything the other person says makes no sense, and it just frustrates them. Sigma males often feel like they're the only ones who are really living in the real world. Everyone else is just living in their own little bubble, not using their brain. Exaggerating things is just a waste of time and energy for Sigmas. They would rather just get to the point and be done with it. They don't see the need to beat around the bush or make things more complicated than they need to be. 10. As a way of being polite. Sometimes, Sigma males ignore you because they don't want to be rude. They may not be interested in what you have to say, but they don't want to come across as impolite by interrupting you or cutting you off. Being polite is important to them, so they would rather ignore you than offend you. If you're looking to start arguing with a Sigma male, you're going to have a very hard time. They are masters of self-control, and they rarely lose their temper. They would rather just walk away and ignore you than get into a heated argument. So, if you're looking for a fight, you'll be left alone.